So tonight we'll start off with the Q&A. Now, the Paññavimutta Arahat is certainly not bereft of achievement in serenity. To the contrary, he can carry serenity quite far. What does this imply? Okay. Now look at this Paññavimutta Arahat. Now here, when you have jhana, all right, we talk about the dry insight worker in a short while. When you have jhana, is that the moment the jhana is there, then the defilements or the hindrances are all suppressed. The hindrances are all suppressed. That means you have such a, when you come out from that jhana, then you use the concentration that you develop from the jhana and the qualities of the mind that you develop from the jhana. You divert the mind, and you begin to note the mind and bodily process, and you begin to see anicca, dukkha, anatta without much of hindrances troubling you, without much of sleepiness or thinking mind or all kinds of sensual desire, ill will, or skeptical doubt, or all these things all put aside. The whole mind is able to directly onto the noting on this. So on the mind and matter, mind and bodily processes, they can able to see them very clearly. Yeah? Yeah. So even from the first jhana onwards is wonderful. What more, you have a second, third, fourth, fifth jhana. Okay, that is good. Now for the dry insight worker, the sukha vipassaka, that means you do not have any jhana, but doesn't mean that you do not have any tranquility meditation. That means doesn't mean that you don't have any samatha meditation. Even you start off with the rising and falling. Let's say for those who are just practicing this rising and falling and walking meditation and daily activities, especially the Mahasi method. When you do that, that is called a dry insight worker. Even with that, in the beginning part of the meditation, you also will achieve some degree of tranquility and concentration. Without this tranquility and concentration, then the mind is dispersed, and there's a lot of restless mind, a lot of thinking, a lot of sensual thoughts, ill will, skeptical doubt, everything. You still will have that. You have a lot of it if you do not have any serenity or concentration or tranquility of concentration. So while you are taking up this rising, falling, or even in breath, out breath, when you take up this part, before you reach to the first path, there will be times that your mind is free from all these hindrances. It's free from these hindrances for a short period of time. That short period of time, when it's clear, you put your attention and everything into noting the arising and passing away, or rising, falling, and the changing, and so on. Then you begin to see the true nature of things as they are. But then it does not last. Then the sleepiness comes in, thinking comes in, and all these hindrances come in again. And then you deal with them. After that, they are cleared again. Then after that, you can meditate. And then after those things come back again, then they disappear, you can meditate. Then you kind of like to and fro, to and fro. Whereas the one with the jhana, they don't have to go to and fro, because the earlier part, the jhana has cleared the defilements away. They cleared the defilements away. Then they don't have to deal with all this one. Whereas for a sukha vipassaka, dry insight worker, you have to deal with a lot of it. So that's why we see in the beginning of especially beginners yogi, when they begin to meditate, we find that they find that they are so difficult in just to maintain that 1 hour sitting. 1 hour walking also, the mind is so easily distracted. 1 hour sitting is distracted by all kinds of thinking, by this and that. So the mind cannot stay. So after you practicing for a while, when the insight slowly to begin to deepen, at that time your concentration, especially here the momentary concentration, and we will talk about this momentary concentration, Kanika Samadhi, when it comes into the right concentration and right effort and right mindfulness, on that part. So that this time that when the Kanika Samadhi or the momentary concentration becomes strong, then here that momentary concentration, they also, in the sense that they keep the hindrances aside. That's why when they keep the hindrances aside, you can able to see things as they really are. So with the hindrances around, you cannot able to do that. So, and also you will see that as the yogi develop further for this dry insight worker, as the yogi develop further into the meditation, then you find that at times within an hour walking or sitting, they don't find that there's much of thinking coming in. Sometimes, in fact, that there's hardly any thinking at all, or hardly any sleepiness at all during in that particular sitting. So that is wonderful. Even they do not have any jhana right in the beginning, samatha jhana. So it can go very far. So don't underestimate this dry insight worker. Then you may think that, oh, Bante, like that, must go and start off with the samatha meditation first. Then when it comes into vipassana, make my life easier. It's not so easy. Sometimes people thought that just go by this samatha meditation, and then you think that the hindrances, they just surrender themselves, and then they wait for you. Okay, let you go meditate samatha. No, they will come and haunt you too, whether you do whatever form of meditation. Nowadays, there are people who say that, oh, I can get this first jhana, second jhana within like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't think that is. I mean, when I hear their report, although I don't teach them, but when I hear their report and their description, I think that they're still very far away from jhana. A lot of calmness, a lot of tranquility, yes, but it could be a lot to do with this samatha upakilesa, when they are began to attach to this calmness and so on, thinking that these things are jhana. Whereas this is not. Jhana is still very far, still very deep somehow. It's more than just this calmness and this tranquility. More than that. But actually, when ones have this jhana, then you, in the earlier part before you enter into jhana, you have to do a lot of mindfulness work. You have to do a lot to do with mindfulness too. Because if you do not have mindfulness, your nimitta or your object of your meditation, samatha meditation, also cannot be very stable. So you need a lot of mindfulness. So in that sense, you have to clear a lot of your hindrances, even when you are in the developing of samatha. Even there are teachers who says that you want to develop samatha right into the first jhana. Well, it may take you a year or two or so. It's not as easy as you think it is. That the day we talk about entering into Nibbana, when we talk about the consciousness of path and friction, then they have before that is the change of lineage, adaptation knowledge, those type of consciousness that's running through. In jhana also, before you enter jhana, there's also a consciousness that's running through also. And then the sequence of the jhana and the sequence of magga and phala, they are different in a certain sense. Then when you know that they are different, then you also know that you also whether you have jhana or not, or magapala or not, something like that. Huh? One of the things. Next time we'll talk about it. So this second one, don't underestimate it. Just because you do not have jhana, then it doesn't have any impact. Huh?